So yesterday we studied about oceanic, all those relief features and temperate cyclone and tropical cyclone. So all those parts we finished yesterday. So today we'll start with the oceanic tides. Then we'll see about the oceanic waves. Then we'll see about the how many oceans and seas are there, all those nearby, because in questions it might be there also that nearby boundaries area, that some particular countries might be asked of some sea area. So in that type of questions might be asked. So all those things I brought in the slides, everything at the end of PPTs. So all those things we will study today. And oceans and seas, that we will study in the last part. First we will finish the ocean currents, and after that we will see the oceans and seas. Okay. So today we'll start our class with the oceanic tides. So oceanic tides means what? Okay, can you confirm me that whether my slides are changing or not? Anyone confirm?
Yes, sir. It's changing.
Okay, thank you. So tides, see, first in our ocean water we have the movements. Okay, in that movements there are two movements. One is due to the frictional force and another is due to the gravitational force. Okay, so that movements are waves and tides. And waves are like waves, they are flowing like in a horizontal direction, where the tides, they are in the vertical direction. Okay, so today we will study about the tides, and then after that we will study about the waves. So see, what is mean by tides? So rise and fall of sea water. Both waves and tides, both are rise and fall of sea water only, but there is little bit difference. And see, we'll see how that difference is there. And everyone, if any issues in the mid classes, like if slides are not changing, then just approach me in the mid class itself. Okay, so see here, waves and tides. Tides, what is happening? Tides, see, tides occurs due to the gravitational pull of sun and moon. See, suppose if we have our earth here, okay, then we have our moon and sun. See, around the sun, all those planets are revolving. Okay, then around the earth, moon is revolving. So moon is revolving around the earth. So in this case, what it is happening? See, moon also have the gravitational pull. Okay, gravitational pull. Moon, sun also have the gravitational pull. But what will happen out of this? See, sun has the largest amount of gravitational pull. Sun also has. So sun has largest amount, but since it is farthest from the earth part, okay, so what, that gravitational pull which will be acting on the earth surface by sun, that will be less. But where is this moon? Moon is nearer to the earth surface, so moon's gravitational pull will act more on this earth surface. Okay, so now if gravitational pull, now what is happening? Tide occurs due to the gravitational force, gravitational pull of the sun and moon. So in this, what will happen? See, now moon is nearer to it. This is moon, this is sun. So moon is nearer to it. So see, in this case, now you all can see, in this case, there is an occurrence of full moon. Okay, then there is an occurrence of new moon also. So that part also we will study. So see, now see, we have the gravitational pull by both these parts, both moon and sun. Because of that gravitational pull, what is happening? It is pulling the water surface. That water surface, it is pulling the water surface upwards. Okay, so because of that we have the tides. And whereas waves, if you see, waves also definition is same, rise and fall of sea water. But this is happening because of what? This is happening because of frictional force of the wind. See here, suppose this is water and wind is blowing. Okay, if wind is coming from this direction, so that strongest wind will be coming, and you know that this part is a liquid part. Okay, so it can be easily taken up. So in this case, what will happen? Due to the frictional force of the wind, all those prevailing winds, you can take it as the easterlies, westerlies, or you can say it as a trade winds. So all those blowing in the parts of water bodies. So what will happen? They will, due to the frictional force, they will move the water. So here this water, what will happen? When frictional force will come through this area, so this water will get risen up. Okay, then again it will fall down. Then again that frictional force will be in the later part. So like a wave, it will be going on. So that is the part of waves. So waves happen due to frictional force and tides happens due to the gravitational pull of the sun. Okay guys, 1 minute. Okay guys, sorry for inconvenience. See, now this is the part of waves that happens due to the frictional force of wind and tides happen due to the gravitational force. So these are the ocean movements. So now in this class we will study about the tides and how those tides are happening. See, tides, we have the high tide, low tide, we have, so all those high tide and low tides, how it is happening. See, now in this part we will see by the diagram. See, suppose this is our earth surface, okay, this is our moon and this is our sun, and you all know that earth is rotating around the sun and moon is rotating around the earth. Okay, now moon have gravitational field, sun also have gravitational field. So in that case what will happen, when the gravitational pull happening from this place, okay, and we have the water body these places, so that water body will be lifted up, okay. So that particular, when that due to gravitational pull that it will be lifted up, that particular we have the high tide, okay, that is the high tide. And similarly, to balance this force, okay, our earth has the centrifugal force, okay. So due to the centrifugal force we have the upliftment in this part also. So this part is also known as the high tide. So in this part we have the upliftment. So these two parts are known as the high tide, and except these two parts, so these two parts in the water bodies, if you see, these are the low tides, okay. So these are the low tides. So high tide means what? That lifting up, see, that lifted bodies, so that is a high tide. You can see here in this diagram. So that lifting of water, that is a high tide, and when it is falling down and it is like submergence type, you can say, or you can say going to the surface of water, so that is the low tide, okay. And the distance between the high tide and low tide is known as the tidal range. So the distance between the high tide and low tide is known as the tidal range. So this is about the high tide and low tide. So see in further our this part, okay, slides are changing now, okay. So see here, combined effects of tide, how it is happening, due to the gravitational force of the moon, okay. So due to the gravitational force of the moon we have tide. So gravitational force of moon, gravitational force of sun, and also due to the rotation of the earth. How it is due to rotation of the earth? Because see here we have the centrifugal force, that when from this side when it is pulled up, water is pulled up, so this side also we have the centrifugal force that is acting, so that is balancing, okay. So when it is balancing, this is happening because of what? This is happening because of rotation of the earth, okay. And rotation of the earth means what? When it will be rotating, so in all direction also it will be occurring. So where that sun and moon will be, the both will be in the same direction, they'll pull, so there we have the occurrence of high tide that side, and also in the opposite side we have the occurrence of high tide, okay. You can see in this diagram we have the sun here, we have the moon here. So now this sun also gravitational field also it will be pulling, and also it will be pulled by the moon gravitational field also. So in this way high tide occurrence happens. So in this, see, if we have total amount of like 10 units are happening, that gravitational pull, that water is pulled by, so high tide means water is pulled by 10 gravitational pull, means you can say it as 10 Newton, okay. So here what it is happening, out of 10 Newton, 7 will be from the moon, okay, and only less will be from the sun part. And how? See, because this moon part, what is happening, it is very near to the earth surface, whereas sun is farthest from the earth surface. So in this case what will be happening, moon gravitational field will be high, that for the pulling the water, so that is high tide, and sun gravitational pull will be less, okay. And now in this case, now see, this is the sun and moon, okay. Now in this case you all also can see about the perigee. See, perigee occurs on the which place? Perigee and apogee on the moon surface. That when moon is nearer to the earth surface, that is the perigee, okay. And when moon is farther from the earth surface, that is apogee. And also we have the perihelion and aphelion. So that is the distance from the aphelion, that is distance from the sun, earth and sun. So this is the part of sun. So in this case, see, in this case, what will be happening when we have the perigee? So perigee means what? Large, that gravitational field will be acting in a large amount. Okay, and opposite means what? It will be acting in less amount. So distance also matters in this part. Okay, so distance also matters in this part. Then similarly, perihelion and aphelion. Perihelion means what? That sun is near to the earth's surface. Okay, and where aphelion means it is apart. It means farthest from the earth's surface. So if the sun is near to the earth's surface, that means what? Here sun will have the large amount of gravitational field pull on the earth's surface. So in this tide process, the distance also affect the formation of tides. So this is about the perigee, apogee, perihelion, aphelion. So in this case, now you all must do the revision also, that what is known as the perigee, what is meant by the apogee, what is meant by perihelion, what is meant by aphelion. So these are all parts. So see here, we in the earlier part also we said that this side, if gravitational field of both moon and sun is pulling, so in that case what will happen? This side will have the centrifugal force. Okay, that will be what it will be like, because from this side centrifugal is what? Outward force acting. Okay, so suppose if some materials are there, so outward force means what? It will be sending it away. So that is the centrifugal force. Okay, so in this case, see, gravitational field of sun and moon will be pulling this side. Okay, and to balance those parts, so from this side also we have the our, due to the earth's centrifugal force, we have the high tide this also. Okay, and high tide is known as the spring tide. So remember, high tide is known as the spring tide. So high tide is known as the spring tide. So this is the part of high tide, and low tide you can say it as the neap tide. So see here, the moon's gravitational pull to a greater extent and to a lesser extent the sun's gravitational pull, so are the major cause of the occurrence of the tides. And another force we have studied, that is the centrifugal force. So due to the balance, so due to for the balancing all these forces, tides occurs. Okay, due to the balance, tides occurs on this. Okay, so see, tides, what it will happening as we go nearby the continental shelf area. So there what will happen? We have the high tide, you can say, because here what will happen? There will be the tide break there, like a wave break you can see at this part. So there what will happen? As before the breaking, it will go to the highest amount. Okay, see, in the if the deep water, if you go, so deep water, it will be what? Tide will be happening and they will be circulating in their own places itself. Okay, so in that case what will happen? Only less height will be there. But there, if you come to the shallow area, so there you know that earth's surface are coming, so there it will go into the height way. So we can see easily in the, even when you see the waves, when you go near to the beaches area, so there we will be seeing that from the distance, if the waves are coming, there what will happen? There it will be in the like less height. But when it reaches the continental area, so there that height will increase. Okay, and at last when the break happens, then after swash and backwash happens. Tides are highest in the shallow part. Slides are not changing. Any issues? Can you all confirm me? Anyone? Guru Vishnu, whether slides have changed or not? Now whether our slides is on tidal range or not?
No, sir. Slides are not changing, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now can you confirm me now whether slides changing or not? Guru Vishnu, now whether slides changing or not?
Yes, sir. It's changing, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So see, that was about the high tide. Okay. Now see in this part. In this part, what it is happening? See here. Now see, tidal range is what? Difference between the height of high tide and low tide. That is the tidal range. And highest tide of the world, if you see, that we will find in the Bay of Fundy area. That is in the Canada. Okay. And then that highest high tide, that you all can see in India, if you see, that is in the Gulf of Khambat area. Okay. That is in the Gujarat area. So remember, in the Gujarat area, if you see in the Gujarat area, not in the Rann of Kutch, in the Gulf of Khambat area, we have the highest high tide. So Gulf of Khambat is there in this place, and in this place we have the Rann of Kutch area. So in this Gulf of Khambat area, we have the highest high tide. Then see, what is known as ebb. So remember the ebb, that sea level fall. Okay, when we have the high tide, okay, high tide, and when it is falling down, so that, like see, you can hear that here we have the high tide. and here this downwards part. So this downwards part is known as the ebb. So remember this particular name, ebb, because they might ask for the concept basis. So ebb means what? That sea level fall is known as the ebb. Okay. Now see, tides on the basis of frequency. So tides, they are divided on the basis of frequency. We have semi-diurnal tide, we have diurnal tide, and we have the mixed tide. So semi-diurnal tide is what? Too high tide and too low tide. Too high tide and too low tide. So that is the semi-diurnal tide. And one high tide and one low tide is known as the diurnal tide. Then we have mixed tide. So mixed means what? We have both high tide and low tides. So that mixing is there. So that is the mixed tide. Means it might occur many times. Okay, like more than 2 times. So see here, semi means what? 2 times. High tide and low tide occurrence is happening. And one high tide and one low tide, diurnal tide. See here, between the 2 high tide occurrence, okay, between the 2 high tide occurrence, time gap is between 12 hours 26 minutes. So remember this time gap. Between the 2 high tide occurrence, we have the time gap between 12 hours 26 minutes. So remember this one. And then see, we have a high tide. See, mostly we have high tide on the full moon, or you can say no moon. When they are in the, when Earth, Sun and Moon are in the straight line. So there we have the occurrence on tide. So there you can see. So 12 hours 26 minutes gap is there between 2 high tides. Okay. And west of North America we have a place. So there we have like 6 to 8 times. How it is happening that 6 to 8 times? See, west of North America we have the Pacific Ocean coming that side, then Atlantic Ocean also from the other side, and we have the, we can say we have some seas over there. So because of that we have many numbers of tide occurrence. So this is 2 high tide and 2 low tide. If it is, they are saying means what? It is in one ocean. Okay, it where it is only one, that particular ocean is there. Means what? No other ocean is nearby to it. So in that 2 high tide and 2 low tide happening. Okay, and in west of North America we have 6 to 8 times high tide and low tides. Low tides. Why? Because of the occurrence of 3 oceans, they are converging. So there we have the 6 to 8 times in a day. And then we'll move to the next part. See, we have the tidal bulge. Okay, so why there are 2 tidal bulges? So that 2 tidal bulges, we saw that because of gravitational pull and due to the centrifugal force. Then see here, types of tide, we have 2 types of tide. One is known as one is spring tide, that is known as the high tide, and one is the nip tide, that is known as the low tide. So these are the 2 types of tides. Now see, on the surface of the earth nearest to the moon, what happened? The pull or attractive force of the moon is greater than the centrifugal force. So that pull of that moon is greater than the centrifugal force. So there is a net force causing a bulge towards the moon side. So because of that we have the net force, that bulge on the moon side. Then see, so why we have that on the other side also bulge? That is, we saw that is due to the centrifugal force, because that to balance the force, and factors controlling the nature and magnitude of tides. So that in the movement of moon and relation to earth, so that moon also factors that controlling the nature and magnitude of tide. Then we have the sun's, that position also, that distance. Okay, then uneven distribution of water over the globe. Okay, see, like a 71% we have the water and 29% we have the land area. So means uneven distributions are there. Like in some parts you can see, if you go to the, like in Europe area, so in the Europe, in the, like it is surrounded by the oceans part, but in the middle we don't have, so uneven distribution of water is there. Okay, then irregularity in the configuration of the oceans. Then see, if earth, moon and sun, okay, in the same direction, if they are in the straight line, then that particular process is known as the cdse. So remember this one, cdse. These have been asked in the previous year papers. So earth, moon and sun, if they are in the straight line, okay, same way in moon, that same position also should be the earth, moon and sun. So that particular process is known as the cdse. And spring tide, when it happens, when we have the full moon period. So full moon is what? Full moons, sorry, in previous slides we saw it wrongly. So see here, full means what? When we have the earth in the middle and moon and sun, okay, they are on the either side and they are in the straight line. That time we have the full moon. And suppose that only if the earth is there in the like one corner and in middle we have the moon and sun and all three are in the straight line, then that particular period is known as the new moon. So spring tide we have on both on the full moon period and the new moon period. So that means what? In a 1 month you can say that we have the two spring tide. That means two high tide, like you can say, on the full moon and the new moon period. So that means what? That new moon, it occurs in the 15 days. So in that way you can say. So full moon and new moon period. So full moon is what? When the moon, earth and sun, they are in the straight line. So in that earth is in the middle. So that is the full moon. And when earth, moon and sun, that is that time moon is there in the middle, that is the new moon period. So spring tide happens on the spring tide, that is the high tide, that happens mostly on the full moon period and the new moon period. So this is about the new moon. And neap tide. So neap tide, how it happens? When the earth, moon and sun, they are in the perpendicular direction. So there we have the neap tide, that is the low tide. So see here, now see what is happening. From here also gravitational pull is there, so it is pulling. From this side also gravitational pull is there. From this side also it is pulling. But here what is happening? Here we have the maximum amount of gravitational pull. So because of that, what is happening? Here they are forming the 90 degrees. Okay, so it is forming the perpendicular. So because of forming of perpendicular, so that is the neap tide. Means what? If what happens, see, now this sun's gravitational pull is cancelled by this part. So in this side it will be more. So that is the perpendicular. So in this way, what you can say, if moon, earth and sun, they are in the perpendicular tide, then that time we have the low tide, that is the neap tide. So types of tides. So tides vary in their frequency, direction, movement from place to place and also from time to time. So tides may be grouped into various types. So based on frequency of occurrence in one day or 24 hours based on their height. So means what? Between the two high tides we have the gap of 12 hours 26 minutes. So in that way, what you can say, that in one day in the 24 hours we have two tides. Means what? It will be like 24 hours for the two tides occurrence. That time occurrence will be taking places. So that time will be 24 hours 52 minutes. Okay. So remember that in that like approximate you can say that in one day in the 24 hours we have the two high tides. Then on the frequency that semi-diurnal tide we saw. So in that means what? Two high tides and two low tides occurrence are happening. So that is a semi-diurnal tide and ebb and flood. So the time between the high tide and low tide, when the water level is falling. So when the water level is falling, that sea level fall, that is known as the ebb. And the time between low tide and high tide, when the tide is rising, that high tide that is rising, that is known as the flow or flood. So remember these two phenomena. Then what? See here, although tide occurs twice a day, so that means there we saw in the starting class that time gap is like 12 hours 26 minutes. So see here, that is not exactly 12 hours. So instead of that, we have the regular intervals of 12 hours 25 minutes, or somewhere it might be the 26 minutes. Okay, so don't get confusion that 12 hours 25 or 26 you can say. So this is because of the relative position of the moon and sun. So means what? Moon is rotating. So that occurrence is happening in one day. So because of that moon and sun, that rotation, because of that rotation, this occurrence is happening. So this is because the moon revolves around the earth from west to east, and each day it moves a bit to the east. And if observed from the same place on earth at the same time, then on two consecutive days. So if you observe on the two consecutive days, then you can easily find out that moon is moving towards the east. Okay. So see here, Southampton experience the tides 6 to 8 times that we saw in the North America side. Okay, west of North America. So Southampton, there is a place. So there what is happening? 6 to 8 times it is happening. Sorry, not west of North America, west of that Atlantic Ocean side. Means what? This United Kingdom side. Here we have the Southampton. Okay. So Southampton, it is occurrence, that is 6 to 8 times occurrence is happening. Okay. So see here, 2 high tides from the North Sea, then 2 high tides from the English Channel and 2 low tides from the North Sea. So like 6 to 8 times are happening. So and 2 low tides from the English Channel. So like that 6 to 8 times there are high tide and low tides. And that happens because of that North Sea, English Channel, that is there. So because of pushing the water. Then also in the west of North America also you can see these parts. So North America side also we have the occurrence of that seas are there. Then we have the Pacific Ocean and also Atlantic Ocean, some parts are there. So there also you can see 6 to 8 times. Then about the neap tide. So neap tide is what? When that is in the perpendicular direction. And that neap tide you can see that distance in the neap tide also distance affect that part. Okay, because see opposite is what? It will be farther. So it will have the less tides. Okay, and then the perigee is what? Moon will be nearer. So there we have the like more tides. So don't get confusion that this is high tide. This is like high times occurrence will be there. Then what is meant by the tidal bore? So tidal bore means what? When the tide occurrence happens. So when the tide occurrence happens, what happens? Because of that high tide, they will get settled. Means what? They go and mix with the water, river water. So that is the tidal bore. Like say, suppose because of some phenomena, if river is coming from this side, okay, and it has formed a valley this side, okay, from this water is coming, okay. So when we have the tidal, so because of high tide, what happens? If river is coming from this side, okay, so just see if river is coming this side. Now when the tide, because of high tide, what happens? It has gone and hit these places, okay. Then because of erosion, it has formed a like a trench type formation you can say, or you can say like a valley type, okay. So that is known as the tidal bore, and that time is what happens? That sea and river water get mixed. So because of that, what happens? Because of high tide, we have the flood in these parts, okay. So that flood parts, okay, so that flood parts and that trench parts is known as the tidal bore. So these are all the process of tides. Then importance of tides means what? You all can see if tides is happening, that means what? If high tide is happening, so you can see that during that time what will happen? It will lift up all those planktons, all those plants. So that will be settled near the continental shelf area. It will bring all those near the continental shelf area. So because of that, what will happen? If planktons are shifted, there means what? Fish will come for eating. So when the fish comes for eating is what? That time we have the all those fishermen there, so they'll start catching the fishes. So importance of tide is what? That is important for the fishing. Then that is important for the navigation. Then that is also important for the, you can see that is important for the tourism also. And that is also important for the silting. Means what? Desilting is what? Desilting. That is also important for the desilting. That means what? That siltation will, what will happen? It will, when it goes to the nearby the continental shelf area, then there was erosion, it will happen. Then because of erosion, that all those sand materials or small dust particles will, by the backwash, it will come back into the sea area. So that is the desilting. And also we have the tourism effect. So these are all about the tides. Now we will see about the waves. So these are all about the tides. Now we will see about the waves. So tide means what? You must remember all those three forces: gravitational pull of the sun, moon, and centrifugal force from the earth. Okay, so that helps in the formation of high tide. And other two sides, because of that two sides there is the high tide, and other two sides what it will happen? We have the low tides. So remember that one. And you must remember that when we have the new moon and when we have the full moon. So because of full moon and new moon, we have the high tides and the low tides occurs. And high tide is also known as the spring tide. Okay. So now these are all about, that was all about the tides. Now we'll see about the oceanic waves. So can you see the slides of oceanic waves? Can anyone confirm me whether you all can see the oceanic waves? Dinesh, can you confirm me whether?
Yes, sir. First slide is doing.
Okay. Then now is the slide changing? Is the slide changing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So now see here. That part we saw about the tides. Okay. So in that tides, we saw about all those parts. So tide means what? That was happening due to the gravitational pull of sun and moon. But whereas this, if in the wave, if you see, what will happen? It will happen due to the frictional force of the wind. So wave it will happen due to the frictional force of the wind. So in this, what will happen? Due to the frictional force means what? We have in this horizontal motions, if air is blowing, so in that we have the ocean currents also. Okay. So because of wind process, we have the oceanic currents. Okay. And in the vertical directions, when we have the tide means what? That will be what? That will be pulling of the water. So in that pulling of the water means what? Upwelling with there. Okay. So there upwelling with there. And this upwelling you can easily understand when we see about the oceanic currents. Okay. In oceanic currents means if you see that, see, oceanic currents is a horizontal movement. Okay. Oceanic currents means how occurrence will happen in this sea. Suppose now you all study about the, here we have trade winds blowing. Okay. Then we have westerlies. In these parts we have trade winds. Then in these parts we have westerlies. Then in these parts we have the easterlies. So now in this, what they will bring, that wind speed will be high. So in that time what will happen? That a strong wind. Now water will be, see, water are flowing. So in that case what will happen? When the strong winds comes, okay, and during daytime, if in tropical area if you see, this what? Water will be heated. So due to the strong wind, what will happen? This warm water will be shifted to some other places. Okay. So that shifting of that warm currents or warm water, that is saying that currents is moving. Okay. So that is the currents. So now when the shifting happens, so this parts what happens? This cold water will come up in this part. So because this cold water is coming up this part, so that coming up of cold water in these parts, that is the upwelling. And similarly that part also you can see in the tide also, when that happening, that pulling of gravitational field is, that gravitational pull is happening by the sun and moon. So in that case what did happen? Sorry guys, actually there was a network issues, so I had to connect to the mobile net connection. Okay, so waves in that all those horizontal direction movement. So in that horizontal direction movement, you all can see about the in the horizontal direction movement, you all can see the waves and also the currents. And if vertical movements are there, that means you can see the tides and the upwelling. So that is all about the ocean movements. Okay. So now see, now in this you all can see here about the oceanic movements and all those. So horizontal we have the waves and current, and in the vertical we have the tides and upwelling. So that is about the waves. And waves we saw that in the waves part, that is a horizontal movement. So see here, now we see all those further parts in this part. Okay. So the horizontal motion refers to the ocean currents, okay, and waves, and vertical motion refers to the tides. And you all know that ocean currents are continuous flow of huge amount of water in different direction. This part we'll see in the next class when we see about the ocean currents. And now see about the waves we are seeing. So waves, what? They are actually the energy. So they are not the water, but they are the energy which moves across the ocean surface. Means what? When the frictional force is happening. So because of that frictional force, what is happening? Water is going up and down. So there what is happening? There is a creation of potential energy. Okay. So potential energy, creation of potential energy, and when it is coming down, then there is a creation of kinetic energy. So, and see, water particles only travel in a small circle as a wave passes. So wind provides the energy to the waves. Okay. So that we saw. Then the motion of the surface water seldom affects the stagnant of deep bottom water. So in that what happens? That deep bottom water slowly it will come up. So that circulation movement will be there. So this is due to the friction occurring between the dynamic water and the sea floor. Then slow and steady waves originate from far away places and possibly from the another hemisphere. So due to all those movement of winds, because of that movement of winds only, we have occurrence of waves in the oceanic part. So when the waves movement happens, so see here, when the waves movement happens, see here in this part, so it will go up like, so when it goes up like this, what it will be rotating in a circular manner itself, and this upper part, when it is going up, this upper part is the wave crest, and when it fall down and it falls, it creates like a depression, you can say like a semicircular, you can say, okay. So that down part, the wave trough. So this is the wave crest and this is the wave trough, and also we'll see about the wavelength. So first we'll see about the oceanic. So waves are actually the transfer of energy, not the movement of water. So transfer of energy means what? When the frictional wind is coming. So due to that frictional wind, so because of its energy production is happening in this water, and it is due to the frictional force, it is lifting of the water. So potential energy creation is happening. So again what will happen? Again they flow in like a circular manner. So this down water will come up, again it will fall down, so like process will be happening. So wave particles move in a small circle. So that you can see, like you can say it as a oscillation types. So oscillations, that movement you can see, so that happens in the wave part, okay. And highest point the crest, and that falling part, lowest part the trough. And this trough we have that the height between the crest and the trough. So if you from this part if you take, and this part if you take, so that particular full height between crest and trough, that is known as the wave height. So wave height means what? Perpendicular distance between the crest and trough. And amplitude means what? Half of the wavelength. So half of the wavelength means what? From here to here, if you have the occurrence, from here to here, from this height, so between these two heights there is occurrence, so that half of the wavelength is the amplitude. So wave period of time interval between the two, causing that all those energy. So that time interval between the two trough, or you can say the two crest. So that is the wave period. And see here, wavelength. So distance between from this to this is known as the wavelength between the two trough, or you can say the two crest. So that is the distance. So that is the wavelength. And wave speed, the rate at which wave move, and that is measured in the knot. Okay. So wave speed, wavelength, these are not that much important. That is the part of science. But for the knowledge purpose, that how the wave height is increasing. And see here, when that wave break happens, and when the wave at the continental part, when it comes here, and wave break happens. So when the wave break happens in these parts, so what happens? That water will fall down, and it will be like in a white in color, like you can say in a foam type. Okay. So that particular zone is known as the surf zone. Like you can see, if you buy the washing powder, that surf exists. So that if you mix this white, all those white foams you can see. So that is known as surf. So similarly in this wave break, when the water finally fall down and when the swash happens, so you'll be seeing that all those white. So that is known as the surf zone. And see here, that surf zone, when this wave break is happening, and in that case what is happening? Wave break is happening, and at a particular place, that white color that will be showing, so that is known as the white cap. So remember that also, that is known as the white cap. So when the wave break happens, what will happen? It will slow down, and it will, when it will fall down, see, first in slow movement will be there from all this. When the wave break happens, it will go to a greater height. Then from the greater height, the water falls down. And see, all these are the characteristics of the wave. So all those things we have seen. So all these things just study. And parts of wave, we saw that crest, trough, wavelength, wave height, frequency, amplitude. So these are the part of wave. And how the tsunami happens. So tsunami, don't say that tsunami happens because of the gravitational pull of the moon and sun. That happens because of the tsunami happens because of the earthquake. That if the focus is inside the oceanic water bodies. So when we have the focus inside the oceanic water bodies, so there what happens? We have the, because of earthquake, we have the tsunamis. Okay, and that tsunami, see, inside the water bodies, that won't have that much effect. But what will happen when it reaches the continental part? That when it reaches the land part, so there what will happen? That wave break will happen, and that time what will happen? Their height will be like a larger height. So because of that only we have the destruction in the all those beaches area. So because of that only we have the destruction. And in this part what will happen? They will be moving in a circular manner. They won't have that much height creation. But when they reaches the land part, there they will have the highest effect. So that was about the waves. Now we'll see about the seas and also the oceanic currents. So see, that was the part of waves. So you must know that crest, trough, and how the wave seas occurrence is happening. So all those parts you must see. So see, now we'll see about the ocean, major oceans and seas. See, all those slides already I have mentioned, already I have shared with you all in the group. So now can you all confirm me whether you all are able to see major oceans and seas or not? The slides. Are you all able to see the major oceans and seas? Dinesh, are you there?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. Okay, see. Now on our continent, on our whole Earth surface, we have totally 5 oceans. So 5 oceans is what we have. We have North America, we have Pacific Ocean, okay. So we have Pacific Ocean, then we have Atlantic Ocean, and we have the, you can say we have the Indian Ocean, and we have Arctic Ocean, and we have Antarctica, but that name is not there. Now we are calling it as a Southern Ocean. Okay, this is known as Southern Ocean. Why it is known as Southern Ocean? Because in the southern hemisphere, what is happening? All those parts of Pacific Ocean, southern part of Pacific Ocean, southern part of Indian Ocean, and southern part of Atlantic Ocean. So in the Southern Ocean, what is happening? All these 3 parts are meeting. So all those 3 parts meeting parts, that is known as the Southern Ocean. So that is the Southern Ocean part. Now see, so all those, totally we have the 5 oceans. So 5 oceans means we have the all those other parts, that Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, then we have, sorry wait a minute guys, I think so there is a problem issues with the Zoom. Okay, so we have totally 5 oceans. So now see, in the all those 5 oceans, we'll see all those parts, like they are located near to beach boundaries and all those parts. And these parts are important, see, because if you go to the exam hall, then questions might be asked that these boundaries are there nearby which ocean or which continent this boundary is located. So like that will be useful. So see here, in the oceans by the world by size we have divided. See, Pacific Ocean has the highest area. It is covering the highest area. So Pacific Ocean, it is covering the about the 46.6%. Okay. So out of all those total water bodies, Pacific Ocean is covering 46.6. So it is the largest ocean. Then we have the Atlantic Ocean, that is half of the Pacific Ocean. So that is 23.5% it is covering. Then we have the Indian, then we have the Antarctica, and then we have the Arctic Ocean. And see, total surface area of the Earth. So total surface, that is water bodies. Total surface area of the Earth, we have 10 million square kilometer, and out of that water surface area we have 361 million kilometer square. So and land surface area we have the 29.2%. So that is 149 million kilometer square. So that is if questions come for arranging according to the area. So for arrangement according to the area, you all must know that Pacific Ocean covers the highest area, then you have the Atlantic, then you have the Indian, then you have the Antarctica, then you have the Arctic. So Pacific Ocean, in this ocean you all can see easily about the deepest trench. So in this ocean you all would have heard about the Pacific Ring of Fire. So see here, Pacific Ocean, where it is located? It is near the sea. Now in our map we will be seeing, this side we have the, like you can say, this side we have the North America, and here we have the South America. South America is there. and this side fully we have the Europe area, fully Europe area. Then here we have the Africa area, and here we have the Australia. Okay, and here Europe, Asia, and in this Europe area also some Asia part also there. So all those, and here we have the Asia. So in this part, what is happening? See, here we have the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, in this midway part we have the Atlantic Ocean, and Pacific Ocean we have the on this part, that is east of Russia, you can say Japan, we have this side. So east of all those parts we have the Pacific Ocean. So in the globe, if you join, so what is happening? These two parts, these Japan and Russia parts, and this here North America part, here west part of these parts, what will happening? They will be coming this side. So here you can say, so in these parts, what will happen? In these parts we have the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so see here, that same part is located in this map also. So see here we have the Asia, Australia, and then North America and South America. So this is the full is the Pacific Ocean, and you know that in this Pacific Oceans, when we are studying, we saw that Pacific Ocean there is a large occurrence of trenches, because here lots of smaller minor plates are there. So large occurrence of trenches are happening, and this part only we have the deepest trench, deepest portion of the earth also we have in this part. So the see about the Pacific Ocean, largest and deepest ocean is the Pacific Ocean. It covers 1/3 of the Earth's surface here, and depth is nearly 4,000 meters. And see in this part, what you can say, that it looks like a, this looks like a creation of triangle. Okay, so that it, you can say it as a, it is roughly triangle, and with its apex in the north at its Bering Strait. So here see Bering Strait, that international date line you all studied. So here we have the Bering Strait. So from the Bering Strait, because this Russia part and this is divided. So in this part you have the Alaska in the North America, and here we have the Russia part, that is you can say Siberia area. So these are divided by the Bering Strait. So meaning we have the Bering Strait. So Bering Strait is located in the Pacific Ocean. So remember that if they ask about the date timeline, that Bering Strait located between which two continents? So that is Eurasia, that is Europe and North America, and that sea means you can see that is in the Pacific Ocean. So that is about the Bering Strait. Now see, that is the largest deep. Now in this part, see in this you all know that deepest trench we have, and that deepest trench, that Mariana Trench, is part of which part? That is a part of Pacific Ocean. Mariana Trench is in the Pacific Ocean. So see here, and in this we have the highest deepest point, that Challenger Deep. So that is in the part, this part only. Then in this, what this covers of the 46% areas, total area. Okay, and see in this part also we have many types of different types of trenches. Okay, in all those trenches, see here, these are all the parts of Pacific Ocean. Okay, so in this Pacific Ocean, some important trenches you all can see here. See, like Tonga Trench, we have this place. So Tonga Trench. Then here we have the Kuril Trench. In this part somewhere there will be the, in this side only there will be this Marina Trench also will be there. Then we have the Hawaiian Island this side. Then Puerto Rico Trench we have at the this part. See now in this part, so location of that, see here, see while we will be studying on the ocean current, we will be studying about the Okhotsk current. So Sea of Okhotsk, see it's there in the Japan area. Then Panama Canal, you all would have studied. So Panama Canal we have here, Caribbean Sea we have here. So that is joining this, what Panama Canal is doing, that is joining the Pacific Ocean, and this side we have the Atlantic Ocean. So that is joining. So remember that. So it means what, all this through this map, just go through the map. So just go through some places names so that you can easily recall all those parts. So this is about the Pacific Oceans. So in this, what is happening, many marginal seas, bays and gulfs, they are there across its boundaries. There are totally 20,000 islands. See in this part what is happening, it is Pacific Ring of Fire. Why it is known as Pacific Ring of Fire? Because in this part we have lots of volcanic occurrence on this part. So if volcanic occurrence are there on this part, that means what will happen, we have the volcanic islands also. So in these parts, many, like you can say, the nearly 20,000 islands, dots are there in this ocean. So That is about the Pacific Ocean. And in this sea, in this there are large number of sea mounts, gyres. So in this part, what is happening? See, Hawaiian Island, you all know. So in this part also we have like sea mounts, gyres. So in this part, what is happening? Maximum maximum volcanic are happening in these places. So all those, most of the trenches, sea mounts, gyres, all those oceanic relief forms that will located in this Pacific area. So maximum parts are there in the Pacific Ocean area. So see here, in this part, now through this part you can see this is the Asia part, Russia and Eurasia part, okay, and here you have the Australia, and this is the North America and South America. So see here what is happening? Here we have the Tonga Trench, then here we have the Mariana Trench. So that Mariana Trench is there in this, and this only we have the deepest point. That deepest point we'll see in the next slide. So see here in this we have the deepest point. In this we have the Serena Deep also, and also we have the Challenger Deep. Then in Tonga Trench we have the Horizon Deep. Okay, so remember that we have the Horizon Deep. Then remember the location of this Albatross Plateau. That looks like a bird. You all know the bird. So that looks like a bird plateau. That bird plateau is known as the Albatross Plateau. So remember that one also. So see here different, all those different islands are here. See in this we have Vanuatu, Kiribati, Hawaiian. All these parts are located in the Pacific Oceans. So see here. Now through this diagram you can easily say how those Pacific Ring of Fire is located. So see here. So because of this only, this red color, or you can say pink color, all these full are the Pacific Ring of Fire. So in this we have the smaller, all those plates also we have. So Juan Duf, Hooker plate we have in the North America. So through this you can say, because of location of many minor plates and also some major plates. So because of that, what is happening? We have the most of the volcanic eruptions in the Pacific Ocean, and because of that it is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. See, at all the places occurrence will be there, like trench formation will be there, sea mounts formation will be there. So because of that, part is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. So see here, in the west and southwest Pacific, there we have the Mariana Trench that you all saw in the where nearby the Japan area, Philippines area. Up of the Philippines area, there we have the Mariana Trench. So that Mariana Trench and Mindanao Trench. So they are in the west and southwest Pacific. Then in the southeast Pacific, we have the Tonga and Atacama trenches. So Atacama Desert you all would have studied. So that Atacama Desert in the Peru area. So Peru, that is in South America. So they are in the southeast Pacific. So see in this diagram also you can see all those islands, parts, all everything are mentioned here. So see here, all those trenches. We have all the Tonga Trench, we have Diamantina trenches, we have Sunda Java Trench, we have that Indonesia part. Then we have Japan Trench, Mariana Trench, Philippine Trench, we have Hawaiian Island is here, that is the active volcanic part. Then we have the Puerto Rico Trench. So these are all the important trench. Just see one time diagrams, one time map. Then see here, we were studying that while studying the international dateline, we are studying about the Micronesia, Polynesia, and one more Nesia part was there. That is not in this part. So see what they are the island parts, okay, and they are the part of some and Melanesia, Micronesia. See how what is happening. Suppose our international dateline is coming from this part. So what is happening? From the Bering Strait it is coming. So here what is happening? It is coming here. Then here it is Micronesia. It is a part. It is an island part of, I think so, French. So it is an island part of French. So he said, though they said that they international dateline won't cross through our areas. So they went this part. So again they went the further. Then the Polynesia part was there. So again they said no. So because of that we have the zigzag dateline. So see here we have the Micronesia, then we have the Polynesia, and here we have the Melanesia. And remember this part for the arrangement, okay? Because this part had come for the arrangement, Micronesia, Polynesia, and the Melanesia part. And once you go home, just see that Micronesia, Polynesia, Melanesia, all these islands are part of which country, okay? So just see all those parts. Then see Mariana Trench, all those trench, deepest, all those are mentioned. You don't remember all the depth, but you must remember that starting 4. So Mariana is the deepest, okay, trench, then Tonga, then Kuriel, then Philippines. So starting 4, just remember, others all no need to remember. And Mariana Trench, we have the highest deep point, so that also you must remember. And Tonga Trench, we have the horizon deep, so that also remember. So that was about the part of Pacific Ocean. Now we'll see about the Atlantic Ocean. So in the Atlantic Ocean, that is half of the size of the Pacific Ocean. And Atlantic Ocean, see here. Now if you see in the real world map, see here, Atlantic Ocean is there in this part only. And see, we were studying about the Southern Ocean. So see here, this whole part is the Southern Ocean. What is happening? Southern part of Atlantic Ocean is coming this side. Okay. Then Pacific Ocean, we have the this side. Pacific Ocean. Then Indian Ocean, we have this part. So that also mixing here. So all those southern parts of all three oceans, that is known as the Southern Ocean. And see, we saw about the Pacific Ocean that resembles the triangle shape. But whereas this Atlantic Ocean, even by the map you can say that resembles the S shape. Okay. And it is more significant for the all those trade purpose. So most of the trade purpose happens in this area. Because see, here we have the America side. So this is a developed country. Here we have all those Britain, France, Italy, all those developed countries are here in this part. So most of the trade happens in the Atlantic Ocean. So in Atlantic Ocean, you all know that we have the mid-oceanic ridge. So that mid-oceanic ridge is there in this part, in the Atlantic Ocean. And in this part, we have the various continental shelf. Okay, so remember that continental shelf are there. Then in this part, one of the famous part for the fishing, that is the Grand Banks. So that Grand Banks, what is? Grand Banks is there in this part only. Then all these are parts, see, all these are important. Atlantic Ocean, they have the marginal sea. And then in this part only, we give the Hudson Bay. You also have the Hudson Bay. Then we have the Baltic Sea, North Sea. So just go through the diagram. See, in this part, we have all those parts. So these are all about the Atlantic Oceans. And about the Atlantic ridge, we studied in the earlier class also. Then in this part, also we have the sea mounts and guyos. Then examples, you can say Pico Island, we have of the Azure Sea, then Cape Verde Island, then Canary Island. And in this part only, we have the Bermuda Triangle. Okay. And Bermuda Triangle, see, while starting the current part, there you will see it why that disappearance of flights and ships are happening in the Bermuda Triangle part. Okay. And remember, the St. Helena is located in the Atlantic Ocean only. Then in this also we have the trenches, all those Puerto Rico trench, that is a part of Pacific Ocean also, and in the Atlantic Ocean, that you can see near the Panama Canal area. Then next is about the Indian Ocean. So Indian Ocean is the third largest and it is less deep than the Atlantic Ocean. So Indian Ocean means what? See, Indian, all these are parts of the Indian Ocean. Okay, from here, see, Red Sea, if questions come, Red Sea is a part of which ocean? That is part of the Indian Ocean. Whereas Mediterranean Sea we have here, that is a part of Atlantic Ocean. So remember that. Then see here, we have the Persian Gulf here. So remember that they have asked about the Persian Gulf. In that they have asked about the Gulf of Aden. So remember the locations. And we have the Bab al-Mandab Strait. We have the Hormuz Strait. So remember that also. So in this sea here, in this Gulf of Aden, we have one strait. And in this Persian Gulf also we have strait. So that all those states we'll see. And what you know by the states, so that parts also will be seen. So a state means what? That land you can say, or you can say a water body that is joining the two water bodies. That is known as the strait. And in this sea, we have the some submarine regions also, that Lakshadweep you can say. You can see the Seychelles, South Madagascar, all these regions we have in the Indian Ocean part. And then we have the many islands also. So Andaman, Nicobar, Sri Lanka, Madagascar, Zanzibar, all these are the parts of Indian Ocean. And we also have the what is named the continental shelf. So that continental shelf in this part, what is happening? It is a narrow type. Okay. And see, if continental shelf they ask, that is mostly that is in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And in the trenches in the Indian Ocean, we have the Sunda Trench. Then states, see, most of the states in the Indian Ocean are the important trade routes. Means what? They are joining the two parts. Okay. So Bab al-Mandab, that is between Yemen and Djibouti area. So there we have the Bab al-Mandab, and then we have the Strait of Hormuz, that is between the Persian Gulf, that is, it is separating Persian Gulf from the Gulf of Oman. Okay, and Bab al-Mandab, that Bab al-Mandab we saw, that Gulf of Aden, we can say. So there Gulf of Aden, that Bab al-Mandab is there. Then Lombok Strait, that is connecting the Java to Indian Ocean, and then Malacca, that is Malay Peninsula and Sumatra Island. So remember all these states also, that is connecting between which two parts. So see here, through the map you can see in this map. Okay, see here, we have Persian Gulf here. So here we have Strait of Hormuz. Then here in this part we have Gulf of Aden. So in this part we have the Gulf of Aden, we have the Strait of what we say, sorry, Bab al-Mandab Strait we have. So that is the part of Gulf of Aden. So remember about all those locations point. Okay, then Lombok Strait, that we have that Indonesia and Indian Ocean. So that Java Sea is there. Then Malacca also, Malay Peninsula and Sumatra Island. So remember this both. And Pak Strait, you know, that is between the India and Sri Lanka. So these are all about the Indian Ocean. So see in this map, all those oceans, sea, all those places are mentioned this here. See, this is the part of all those land passes. We have Aral Sea, Caspian Sea, see here, Persian Gulf we have, Gulf of Oman we have, Gulf of Aden. So see, these are all the Asian parts. So by these parts, if you see the all those locations in the world map, so easily you can locate. So just know all those seas, Yellow Sea, Japan Sea, where are they located. So these are all about the different seas and oceans. So this part you can remember if you see the map area. So there only you can recall all those problems. Okay, now we'll see about the other parts, that is about the oceanic currents. So let me open the oceanic currents part. So in the oceanic currents, see, if you can understand the oceanic currents, and you can easily guess that where the warm currents will be located and where the cold currents are located. How does that the occurrence are happening? That we'll see in this part about the oceanic currents. Okay, can anyone confirm me whether you all are able to see the oceanic currents slides? So can you see the first page of oceanic currents slides? Anyone? Dinesh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the oceanic current slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So see here, in this ocean currents, how that creations are happening, that all those parts we'll see. So first we'll see the introduction. So ocean currents are the most important ocean movements. So that is happening because of their influence on the climatology, and also that climatology is what you can say the temperature part. See, climatology is which part? So one is the temperature part, and one is the wind direction. Okay, wind direction is what? That because of that wind, strong winds, we have the frictional force acting on the water bodies. So because of that, occurrences, oceanic currents occurrences happening. So ocean currents are like river flow in the oceans. So they represent a regular volume of water in the definite path. So see here, in this ocean, starting in the ocean movement, we start with the tides and upwelling. Then that is the vertical movement. Then horizontal movement is waves and the ocean currents. That we saw. An ocean current. What is the ocean current? That is flow of water in a particular direction. Okay. Similarly, like a river on land. So flow of water. See, suppose if this is the water body, so what is happening? Because of wind, if wind is coming from this side, means what? Wind flowing in this side. So that flow of water in the ocean currents. Okay. So that water is flowing. Okay, they are flowing in some places. So that is none of the ocean current, like how river is flowing. So in that way you can say. Then drift means what? See, remember these three terms, because these three terms are very important. So here drift means what? Drift means what? If ocean currents are flowing. Okay, and then after some points, what is happening? They are deflecting into two directions. Okay, they are drifting away. Okay, into two directions means what? Two other forms of currents are happening. Two other that means two other different names of currents are occurrence are happening. Okay, so that is known as the drift. And stream is what? If a water bodies, if that mixing is happening, that suppose if two warm currents or two warm and that cold currents occurrence are happening. So because of that, what is happening? Here there is the large amount of water creations will be happening. So that great volume area and they have the velocity high. So great volume area and velocity high. So that particular water is known as the stream part. Okay. So drift is what? It is deflecting into two directions, and ocean currents is what? It is moving in the flow of water in a particular direction. So that is the ocean current. So remember difference between these three parts, because these three parts are very important in understanding the oceanic currents part. Because see, in oceanic currents parts we will be seeing about the North Atlantic drift, then we will be seeing about the Gulf Stream. So why that name is being named as the Gulf Stream? So see, stream is what? It has the greater volume and velocity high over there. Okay, and how it is happening? Because mixing is happening of two currents. Okay, and drift means what? Deflecting into the two directions. So that is about the difference between the ocean currents drift and the stream. Okay, now see in this part what is happening. Suppose now you can see through this diagram also. See here. Now this is our Earth surface. Okay, this is our equator. So here you all know that when wind is blowing this way, that means what? It is deflecting this side. So this is known as the north easterly trade winds, and here you have the south easterly trade winds. Okay, so here what is happening? Suppose if this is the equator part, so north easterly trade wind, that means wind is blowing this way. Okay, so when the wind is blowing this way, so what is happening? That a strong winds, because of that strong winds and equator, you all know that here what will happen? Surface will be hot in this part. Okay, so surface will be hot, that water surface will be hot. That means what? Warm water will be there in these parts. Okay, so warm water will be there. Now what will happen? Because of strong winds, what will happen? This warm water will be taken to these parts. Okay, at the in part. Okay, so this warm water, because of hot wind, because of the strong wind, so these will be taken. Now what is happening? In the down part, you all know that cold water are denser, so it will be in this part. So now after this warm water, because of strong winds, when they are driven in a particular direction, that is known as the warm current. So warm current are the surface current. Remember, warm current are the surface current, and cold current, you all know that cold current are denser. Okay, so cold current denser means what? They are the subsurface current. Okay, so cold current are denser and they are the subsurface current. So in that case, what will happen? This driven will be happening by the strong wind. So warm water will go this side. So warm current will flow in this side. And now this in this part, when this warm water will be blank, so here cold water will start coming up. Okay, and when the cold water comes up, so that cold water coming is known as the upwelling. So this is the upwelling part. Okay, now in this part what happens? When this cold water comes up means what? All those planktons area, all those planktons part located in this downer part, this also will come through this area. And when this part, all those plants and all those parts comes, so fish also will come for the eating all these parts. So because of shifting of warm current, here we have the formation of cold current in this area. So because of that, what we have? We have the fishing zone here. Okay, fishing zone here in this part. And remember, because in this case what will happen? Now warm water is shifting this side, and you all know that if cold water is coming here, so what will happen? You all know that warm water and a strong wind will be there. So in that case, what will happen? It will be, see, now because of a strong wind, you all know that warm temperature will be there. So because of hot temperature, what? Wind will go upwards. Okay, so wind goes upwards means what? There it goes with the moisture. So there the cloud formation happens. So when the cloud formation happens means what? So in this area, high rainfall occurs will be there. Now in this part, what happens? Cold water is coming. So cold water will descend. So in that cold water, there will be no formation of clouds in this part. So all those parts, see, most of the deserts part, see, if rains are not happening, see, desert means, don't get confused that only thing that if there are sand. So desert means what? Any harsh conditions which are not suitable for the living of the human beings. That is known as the deserts. Even the Antarctica part is also known as the desert only. Okay. So see here, now here what is happening? Cold water upwelling happening in this part. So here there will be no formation of clouds in the troposphere part. So here what will be happening? Because of no rainfall, here we have the desert part. So most of the deserts will be located in the cold ocean current area. So remember, most of the deserts will be located in the cold ocean currents area. Okay. So this is the part of cold ocean current and the warm ocean current. Now see, in this, by this we will be studying all those different types of currents, how that occurrence is happening, how occurrence of different currents are happening, and all those about the different types of currents are mentioned in the slides. So when you go on, just go through all those slides. Now see here, based on the depth, surface current, that is the warm current, we have 10%, and maximum is occupied by the cold current, deep water current, that we have the 90%. So see here, current temperature, cold current, that we saw that in upper part what we have. So you all see in this part, upper part, when due to the hot, that temperature will be hot. So because of that, warm current will blow through this, through the direction of wind part. So see here, now in this part you all know that the equator part we have the warm water, that high temperature will be there. So when the flowing will happen is what? That warm current will move from equator towards the pole area. Okay. So equator part is heating is what? You all can see that warm current will move from the equator towards the pole area. And if the cold current moves, then cold currents will start descending from the pole to the equator area. And they are the subsurface area, subsurface current, and warm current are the surface current. And cold current will be always in the sinking type. So remember that also. So through the diagram, like if you, when we study with the cold air and the warm air, by that diagram also you can understand that cold air will be blowing in the pole part. So that cold water will be flowing from the pole to equator, and warm water will be flowing from the equator to pole. So remember this part. By this part only we can easily understand that where the cold current is flowing and where the warm current is flowing. So see here, ocean currents are influenced by two types of forces. So one force is primary force. In that primary force we have the Coriolis force, all different types of force that we will see. Then we have the secondary forces that influence the currents to flow. So in primary force, so secondary force, one is the density and another is the salinity. So see, in the primary force we have that affects the influence of currents. There we have the heating by the solar energy, that we can say insolation, then because of wind, then because of gravity and Coriolis force. Then in the secondary force we have the temperature difference and the salinity difference. So remember these parts, this affecting how that all those parts are affecting, because they might ask that among the following, which of the following forces does not affect the ocean currents. So in that options might be there and some other options will be there. So in that case, remember all those, which are the forces that is affecting the ocean currents. Then see, primary force, because of all those primary force, in the primary force we have insolation, wind, gravity, Coriolis force. So because of that, we'll see how that Coriolis force is happening. See, influence of insolation, in that case what will happen? That water heating will be there. So when the water heating there, then is what? Because of large amount of wind, that water will flow to the wind direction. So there you can see. Then gravity tends to level the difference by pulling the water down the pile. So gravity what? That will tends to pull the water. So that difference it will make. Okay. So in this part, see all those warm currents and cold currents. In this part, see how that influence of insulation is happening. Because if that direct heating will happen, then only that all those surface will be heated. And if you see that if slopy area will be there, like you can see in the pole side, so that means that side water will be not heated. So from there, if the water comes, means that is the cold current. Okay. Then how that the influence of wind is happening? Because of see, all we study about all those high pressure, low pressure area. and there we study with the Hadley cell, Ferrel cell, polar cell. So in that case, see, suppose if water is flowing this area, so here we have the low pressure in the equator here. So low pressure means what? We have the high temperature. So high temperature, now here we have the northeasterly trade winds. So it will take the water to this side. So when the water will take this side, means what? It will shift all those warm water that side and cold water will come up. So in this way they play important roles. Then types of ocean currents, we have surface currents and we have the other two types of ocean currents. They are the based on temperature. We have two types, cold currents and the warm currents. Okay, and cold currents we saw that it will be moving from pole to equator, and warm currents will be moving from equator to pole. So warm currents will be moving on the surface and cold current will be moving down the surface. That means they are the subsurface currents. So, and influence of Coriolis force, that, see, because of wind movement only there is a movement of all those warm currents and cold currents. So because of that, on the wind movement we have the influence of Coriolis force. So in that way you can say that Coriolis force also affects the influence of water movements. Then secondary forces, temperature difference. So temperature difference and salinity. So temperature difference are there means what? You all can say that cold water will be more denser and warm water will be less denser. Because of that only warm water are being evaporated. Okay, so in this way you can understand. And salinity, if some water salinity is high, that means what? That has the high dense, that is high dense, and cold water is less dense. So in this way salinity and temperature difference also affects the movements of ocean currents. So these are all the parts for the affecting of the ocean currents. So these all those other parts about the ocean currents, how we can understand that, we'll see in our next class. Now I'll announce the extra class schedule in the group. I'll announce. So there we'll see all those ocean currents part, and we will try to finish oceanography, and that then in the next part we'll try to finish the Indian geography in 3 to 4 classes. So that everything will finish in the extra classes. And now in this part, from tomorrow onwards your quality class will start at the same time. So that's all for now. We'll finish up with the factors affecting the movements of ocean currents. Okay, all those forces. And when we'll come back into the next class, there we'll see about the ocean currents, all those different ocean currents in all those oceans, and then we'll see about the salinity, and we'll see about the El Nino, La Nina, all those parts we'll see in the next class. So that's all for today. We'll meet again in the extra class, and we'll see all those other leftover portions there. So that's all. You may leave the class now.